For a time, I was against feminism, and I did not like feminism, and the word feminism scared me. It did not scare me because I was against change. It scared me because of people that took that word, twisted it, and made it into something it was not. On both sides, women who did that and men who did that. And I'm familiar with the people who did that. Like I know who did that, and I'm going to get into that right now in this video because it's both men and women who twisted that word into something it wasn't meant to be. Um, I believe in gender equality and treating women and men the same. But then I hear people say, well, that doesn't exist in the dating world, obviously. And what, because gender equality is just treating each other the same, treating each other with, as equals. But then, I go out on a date and a woman expects me to pay for the bill, to pay for to buy her dinner because I'm a man and she's a woman. At that point, it's not because of any other reason other than gender. I'm a man, she's a woman, I have to pay for the date. And if I don't pay for the date, she gets offended. But the twist in this, the plot twist is she's a feminist, or she believes in feminism, she supports feminism, which then becomes a contradiction. How do you support something that's about equality and then on a date, you're like, pay for the dinner, pay for the date, because you're a man? Now, some people say, well, they say, Alex, that's not a big deal. It's a small thing. Would it not be a big deal if I told a woman, what are you doing in those pants? You should wear a dress. You're a woman. Women wear dresses. That doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But to someone who's into feminism, that's extremely sexist and disrespectful. Okay? Now, let me just say something that a lot of and that's mostly what this video is about. It's dating and how a lot of these views are antiquated and they serve no purpose. Because I've had this argument with women who are traditionalists for the longest time, and I'm just going to put it this way. The reason men paid for dates a long time ago had nothing to do with choice. Let me repeat that. The reason men paid for dates, took women out, treated them, had nothing to do with choice. Okay? The reason that it had nothing to do with tradition. People think that these are gender roles. It had nothing to do with tradition, and it has nothing to do with gender roles. The reason men did this, okay, is because in those times, women had no money. Women were broke. Women were beyond broke. They did not even have parents to lend them money. Their parents would not give them money. So women had no money. And the only way that a man could go out with a woman, the only way, was to pay for the date. It's either you pay for the date or neither of you go on a date. Because back then, the only people that had money were men. It had nothing to do with I'm a man and because of what's between my legs, I should pay for the date. It had nothing to do with that. Technically it did, because that's the way that society was constructed. And that was it. So in other words, that was not a decision made on based solely on gender. It wasn't like I'm a man, I need to pay for the date. It was a decision that was predominantly chosen based on the environment. Okay? If it's raining outside and I take an umbrella out, okay, and I put it over my head to protect me from the rain, I'm doing it because of the rain. Now, if it's sunny the next day and someone tells me, where's your umbrella? I'm obviously going to tell them it's not raining. Why would I use an umbrella? Well, they say no. That's your tradition. You should use an umbrella. It's tradition. It's just customary. Just bring your umbrella out. So I take the umbrella, open it up. It's a sunny day, and they get underneath it and they go, now I have shade. ah. So it has nothing to do with tradition. They just wanted shade. They just didn't like the sun hitting their skin, and they needed someone to carry an umbrella, you know, for them. That's something like a woman would do. Like, oh, where's your umbrella? I mean, come on, it's really sunny outside, and it's tradition, right? I mean, you like you like to use umbrellas all the time. No, I use it because it rains. Okay, so everything men did back then, everything from paying for the date to being the breadwinner, to making up certain rules, everything that the men did back then in those times was solely because if he wasn't the breadwinner, if he didn't pay for the date, if he didn't take care of the woman, there was no possible way outside of that to have a relationship. None. Because again, she had zero money, no money, nothing. And she also didn't have an education, no skills. Her skills were only to cook, clean, take care of the house, watch the children. That's it. Okay? And there are people who say we need to bring that back. Those were the good old days. I'm sorry to break it to you, women and men, but women now have money, sometimes more money than a man. Women now have more skills than only. I think everyone should learn to cook, clean, and take care of their home. Let me just put it that way. It is ridiculous for a man to say a woman should learn to cook, clean, and take care of the household when his home is a mess and he can't even make scrambled eggs. That is stupid. I don't support that. Everyone should learn to cook for their own health and well-being and for the children, and everyone should learn to clean, and everyone should have like good hygiene and everything. This idea that that's only exclusive to women is insulting to men. Okay? So I want to make this clear. We live in a different world now where women have money, women have more skills than just cooking and cleaning. Okay? And therefore these rules, these so-called gender roles that were a product of the environment, okay, should not exist. Okay, it was never a tradition. It was never you're a man, you were supposed to pay for the date. This was never a tradition based on gender. It was people taking it and turning it into a tradition. Which, by the way, is the very definition of inequality, sexism, and because it's totally based on gender. It is the complete polar opposite of feminism, of gender equality. And the reason why feminism, in my opinion, took a hit, where it's become a dirty word, where some people don't want to use that word, and as I started this video saying, I was scared of the word feminism. The reason why it's taking a hit is because of the women who still support sexism while calling themselves feminists. And the women who are not fighting those women, standing up for men, because I was against this whole thing of paying for dates and treating the woman and all this. Where were the women by my side to say, you're wrong for that? You should pay for yourself, lady. That's the problem, is that women, because women bought into this idea that every man wanted to be the breadwinner and treat the women. If I don't pay for the date, I'm going to be insulted. No, there are plenty of men that are still today against that. But because there are so-called feminists saying that they're that means that you take care of women means that you're in support of women. Okay, so-called feminists, all right, then men are become against feminism, which in actuality men are feminists. You are a feminist, okay, if you think that women should be treated equally to men, if you think that it's unfair that you're paying for everything just and doing certain things just because you're a man, and you feel that you're not being treated equally, as a man, you are a feminist. Okay, if you at least you believe in gender equality, if that's something that matters to you. So if you have a daughter and you want your daughter to be treated the same as the boys, same opportunities, same responsibilities, same level of compassion and care toward others, and also in relationships, you are a feminist. You believe in gender equality. Okay? And it's unfortunate there are these men. You want to know who the men are that are like, I think a man should pay for the date. I think a man should take care of the woman. I think a man should, be the head of the household. You know who these men usually are? Men that have a whole lot more money than the average man. That's usually who these men are, who only stand to benefit from that way of thinking, who have nothing to lose by supporting that view. They don't lose dates. They don't miss out on outings or anything like that because they're the ones with the money and they have more money than the average person, so they can go out with anybody they want, with as many people as they want, without impunity. Those are the men that are usually in support of anti-feminism and gender inequality. So you got to see it for what it is. For those people who try to go against gender equality, it's women who are trying to take advantage of men, and men who are trying to use gender inequality for their own selfish purposes. Okay, and these two types of people are the people that exist today in society, and they kind of mess things up for feminism and gender equality. But I'm here to say I believe in gender equality because I know where the source of inequality came from. And there's no coming back to the 1950s, 1940s, 1930s. That's gone. As long as women can afford to live on their own, can make their own money and be independent, and get a job just as much as a man and make as much as a man, we cannot go back to those times. It's over as far as that's concerned. And people who want us to go back to those times are the same kind of people that will um, try to take away a woman's ability to make money, will try to sabotage women's ability to be successful because they see it as a threat. Um, and that is where the problem lies, where it exists. So I implore women to hold women accountable, these hypocritical women who say, I'm a feminist, and then turn around and say, no, no, you got to pay that bill. No, no, you got to act like a man. These fake feminists, okay, women need to hold these other women accountable because if they don't, then, well, it's not going to, it's going to get a sour taste, as far as it's not really going to exist in the future for not only for women, but for our daughters. If we ever have, I don't have any daughters, I don't have any kids, but if you're a man and you ever have a daughter, you have ever had children, do you really want her to be a housewife? Do you really want her to be subservient to a man? Do you really want her to be, you know, at a position where she has to depend on a man? Do you really believe in that? Are you comfortable with your sister, your mother, your daughter living like that? Being mistreated possibly by a violent man who thinks that she's property and not a human being? Are you really okay with that? That's what I have to ask you. Because when you are against feminism and gender equality, that's what you're supporting. Anyway, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, and take care.